I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie. In this podcast, we talk about the joys of motherhood as well as the experiences that have altered us along the way.
We've created a safe space to talk about the hard and unconventional alongside the beauty, and we want you to feel confident in the decisions that you make as a mother.
Welcome to the Motherhood Collective Co.
Let's talk. Welcome back to Motherhood Collective Co.
Welcome.
We just saw you guys 5 minutes ago, but you haven't seen us in a week.
I know, that's always so weird, isn't it?
So if it looks like we're wearing the same outfits, it's because we are.
I know. It's like, I really like that dress. I think it's so cute.
I'm returning
But Amanda's returning it. Your tag is out.
Oh, thanks.
It's like the dress that keeps popping up on like all my advertisements.
Yeah,
and every time I see it, I'm like, it's gonna be too short on me. There's no way that won't show my whole vagina.
Well, I ordered a medium because I wanted the length, but then I got these giant shoulders that just slide off my body.
Yeah.
And I walked downstairs and Brady goes, "Why are you wearing that on the podcast? I feel like you should be wearing that in bed."
I know, it
looks
gives
like lingerie.
it gives like cute nightgown lingerie vibes.
Yeah.
It's cute. Like, okay, so here's my thought process is like, I think, okay, did you ever do, what was that, like chat room when we were like in probably like high school?
AIM?
No, it was Anonymous. It was, gosh, I don't remember what it was called. It was like an anonymous thing where people could come in and say whatever they wanted.
No, that is something I would run from. My whole life, I would have ran from that. I would have never done that.
I have like trauma from that, but I do think people are a lot more honest when you're anonymous. So even like what I'm hoping is that there's a lot more like specific and like deeper questions on here than what we would get just like in our inbox or for like an episode.
Constructive criticism.
Maybe. I don't know if people are going to criticize us, but anyways,
if it's constructive, it's okay. If it's like just mean,
okay,
unfollow us.
There's a lot of
wait, pause before we move on. If you are watching on YouTube, please comment.
Okay, should we start from the top or the bottom?
I don't know.
Contacts are going blurry.
Just go.
My contacts are going blurry. You might need to read one.
Okay.
Guys, there's something to know about me is that my vision is almost always blurry. So if you see me like rolling my eyes all the time, it's because I need to get my contact back into focus. And anyways, I forgot to tell you about this, but there's like a new technology for a new contact lens that I hopefully am going to be able to get.
I was listening into your conversation.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to read the second from the top because I saw my name.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Here we go.
I already clicked on it.
Okay.
It says, "I love the podcast, Amanda. I challenge you to let Noah mix all his Legos together. It will be good for you and for him. Welcome to chaos. And let him get inventive with what he can build. Anyone can follow directions, but can he create something new? Sorry, I'm an engineer. Creativity and ingenuity are key." I feel like this is fine.
That's
but
sweet.
No,
yeah.
he has boxes of Legos that are mixed together.
Yeah.
But the ones I buy are not getting mixed together. Sorry. I can like
she just straight up said no thank you.
Yeah. The boxes of Legos we got, how tall is this? What is like over a foot? It's like 1.5 feet tall, and they're like 6 inches wide, and they're like a foot deep. So they're like, it's a lot. It's like thousands of Legos, and they're full to the brim. All these new Legos I'm buying him, they're just gonna get added in there? No. And do you know what he did? He went through and dug out all the people and put them in a little baggie. I'm gonna let him do it.
That's so funny.
I like that comment.
That was cute.
That
was sweet. So you're just picking randoms?
No,
How
I
are
just
we gonna
saw my
keep
name.
track?
Go from the top. Just.
Oh, okay. My contacts.
I'll do the third down.
I'm stressed out.
Sorry.
Okay. Wait. So you want me to do the first one? Then?
Yeah, do the first one.
Okay. Tip for securing in the just in case items.
Let me see.
Oh, maybe she means organizing.
Tips for securing and the just in case items. You both mentioned just rebuying if you needed it later. I like following a rule of thumb of I can replace it in 20 minutes or $20. People can create their own rule of thumb based on where they live and their dollar situation. Is that a question?
Maybe it's just a comment on the organization.
Maybe it's like tips on like how do you decide if it's a just in case item, or maybe it's like tips on keeping them or throwing them away?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I feel like I touched on this already, but I do think it's just whatever you want it to be. For me, it's 6 months prior or 6 months further out. If I know that it's not going to be used in that time frame, then it's gone. So like in a year in bird's eye view, I don't think an item needs to be held on for just in case outside of a year. So that includes every season. That includes all the holidays. Everything gets a grace period for that. But I'm not going to hold on to like 2 watering vases, or I'm not going to hold on to multiples of things.
Yeah. And you and I are I'm not like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't have a time limit in my head. So, cause like there are things like the little clips that hang my wreaths on my fireplace. I use those for Christmas time, but they sit in my drawer until next Christmas.
But that would count in my brain as a keep item.
I know I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Also, I have like a lot of mason jars, and because like I don't know how much starter I'm making for my bread tomorrow.
But also, when you gift soup away, you give them in those.
I do.
So it's like that. Those are actively used items.
Okay. True.
Yeah. I'm talking about like the woman out here listening who has like 10 tiny espresso mugs sitting in her pantry. And she's like, I want to have an espresso party someday. And it's like, but you don't have espresso parties. So
throw it away.
Throw it away. And if you want to throw an espresso party, then go buy a bunch of espresso cups for that party. But I don't know. That's a random example. But
yeah, I guess I'm not someone who naturally
I heard
just
that from
holds
somewhere
onto
sometime.
stuff. Yeah.
But it's like, if it's for the random party or occasion, then just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My husband I'm one that doesn't hold on to stuff, and maybe it's because I lived out of my car for a lot of years and like bounced from boyfriend's houses to friends' houses or whatever. So like I wasn't used to having a lot of stuff, but I feel like Brady, his mom, God love her, holds on to a lot of stuff. I have the funny story. Have I told you the silverware story? I'm going to go really quick because we're going to cut this off at 45 minutes, no matter how many questions we got to. If that's okay.
I don't know. I kind of want to read the question.
My Aunt Paulette bought me a set of silverware from Walmart when I moved into my house that I bought in college. And it's like cheap, but it was good at the time for a college student, right? When Brady and I got married, we were living with his mom she's got an apartment in her basement for like a year, or maybe it was like a year until we got our business open. And I had this box of stuff I had brought from Missouri, silverware, one set of silverware, brought it from Missouri. But I realized as we were moving out into our new apartment, I want new silverware. Riley and Kira, his little brother and his wife, were moving into their first apartment. They didn't have any silverware. So I said, in my box downstairs, my donate box, there's a set of silverware. Go grab it. And they're like all excited now. They don't have to buy silverware. They go down to grab it and it's not there. Okay. It's not there. So we're like, what happened to the silverware? And my husband goes, hey mom, there was a set of silverware in this bucket. Where is it? This is the woman with the apartment in her basement. Took the silverware and it is now living in her drawer, and she was not giving it to them.
That's so funny.
She has, I am not even joking, at any given time, you can go and count probably 45 forks in her drawer for every set.
Wow.
It's wild. So Brady, like when we got married, he had all these ties. This was like when we moved into our apartment, like 90s big fat ties he probably wore when he was 12 years old to church. I'm like, why are you holding on to these? Like if you haven't worn it, and that with clothes, I do have a time limit, because if you haven't worn it in the last, and mine was only 3 months. If it's this season, last 3 months, or if you didn't wear it at all last season, that's actually a really good one that I tell Brady all the time. If you didn't wear it this season, get rid of it. So it's not just sitting in the closet until next season.
Yeah.
Because he definitely can get, not that he hoards, but he has more tendencies to hold on to stuff than I do. It's locked, so I can't get it.
Oh, okay. People are still, I don't have a passcode, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
People are still sending things in. Okay. How can I focus on the joy of the chaos versus letting overstimulation, etc. take over?
But if you're chronically overstimulated, I would be curious as to what your nutrition is like and sleep. And if you're not sleeping, then I would double want to know what your nutrition is like, because if you're deficient in iron, if you're deficient in magnesium, if you're deficient really in anything, that can really cause your nervous system to be fried so much faster.
Even if you're like deficient in free time or like alone time or a clean shower.
Yeah.
I feel like what I do is I find myself being overstimulated in moments where I'm trying to do too much at once. So like I'm trying to write and Sunny's watching a show and Ledger like maybe I haven't fed the dogs yet and they're whining and Ledger needs me or he gets hurt or something. And my first instinct is to like look up from my phone and get irritated. But then if I can like just have like, I don't know how to explain it, but I shift my perspective and I try to eliminate as many things as possible. So if I want to write, I wake up every morning and I make sure I have breakfast laid out for Sunny, whether she's awake or not. Ledger gets fed, whether it's breast milk or actual food. I feed both of the dogs. Basically, I meet all of their needs and I create an environment for which I can sit on my phone and write. Because I know that if I try to do that beforehand, I'm going to get overstimulated because I have 4 mouths looking at me that need to get fed. And so I guess like my advice would be to just like create pockets of like calm for the chaos to exist in, and then just kind of like prepare for it and be on top of it. I think I try to just like stay one step ahead of things of like, okay, what kind of day do I want to have today? Is it going to be like a super productive day? Are we leaving the house? Are we going to see friends, or are we having a home day? And then just like structuring my morning around that. But I really think, and Chase has called this out in me and I call it out in him all the time, is like the times that I feel like we lose our patience the quickest with our kids is when we're trying to do something, whether it be on our phone or our computer, or we're trying to make dinner, or we're trying to focus on something. And the kids or the dogs or whatever, they're not even like necessarily doing anything wrong. They're just being kids. But then there's also Alexa's playing on in the background and the TV's on. And it's like, okay, let's turn off the TV, turn off Alexa, put your phone away. And I guarantee everything you won't feel overstimulated.
Yes, that is also my biggest time where I'm overstimulated is dinner time. Mornings, I can kill mornings. I could do 10,000 things before 10 o'clock. That is just something I've been blessed with. I don't care if I got 5 hours of sleep. I'm getting it done. Evenings, not so much. And I find dinner time to be very stressful because dinner time is usually when my kids are hungry. They're telling me they're hungry with their words or with their actions. They're also wanting to be entertained because they're bored, whatever. And I'm trying to cook dinner. So something I make sure, and I, again, not always perfect at it, but I try to plan my day where I'm starting dinner at 4:00 because then it can be interrupted 27 times.
Yes. Stay one step ahead.
Yes. Yeah. And it can still get done by 5:30 before everybody is freaking out. And I used to try and plan my dinners late because my husband doesn't get home until like 7. So I used to try and have dinner around 6:30. Like maybe he could walk in the door and it's still warm. And now I've like told him like, sorry, you're eating cold food. And he doesn't mind.
And I think just checking in and being self-aware of your expectations. Because I think for me, I get overwhelmed sometimes when I'll just like, I don't know. I need to think deeper of like, oh, it's actually not my kids that are overstimulating or overwhelming me right now. Like it's the fact that I'm sitting here on the couch drinking my second coffee and I have like 20 things I need to do today. And it's easier for me to be like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, than just like get off my butt and go do the things I need to do. Like I think sometimes there's just a self-awareness aspect of it for me where I'm like, okay, my expectations need to be lower. Let my kids be kids. It doesn't need to be no, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Like just for the sake of like the ease and the quiet, like let them be kids and I can go find something to do that I need to do.
Yeah. What Bibles do you guys have and how do you prioritize getting time with the word into your day? I just use King James Version as the Bible I've always used.
We have ESV and NIV, and I have a journaling Bible that I really love.
I have an app that has different versions of the Bible because I really love, the thing I love about the King James Version of the Bible is that it's like the first translation straight from Latin. And you can take some of these old English words and translate these old English words into multiple new English words. Whereas like a New English version, there's only one word for the word. You know what I mean? So, but I do have like, I often use a new international version, like to kind of go with my King James, because it's also fun to do that.
And I just feel like checking in and asking the Lord, like, how can I walk with you today? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he just desires such a closeness with us of like, if all you're doing is reading your Bible to check off a box, like he'd rather you didn't. So, and not saying the Spirit can't still move in that, because he totally can. Like, I think there's something to be said about showing up even when you don't feel like it. But I do think just like, I don't know, like both of my kids have a song that we've like dedicated to them in their lives. Sunny's is The Blessing by Carrie Job and Ledger's is Gratitude by Brandon Lake. And before bed every night, I try if I can to like rock them and just pray over them. And I feel really close to the Lord in those moments and just asking the Lord, like, what do they need, blessing their dreams or their health or whatever, or we're just in the car. And the other day I was like, I would really love if Sunny knew how to like put on the full armor of God. So I'm just going to like look up a song about the full armor of God, and we're going to like, you know, do that together. Or a lot of times for downtime, we do the Minnow Laugh and Grow Bible, which is on YouTube. And they have just the most amazing, cute, adorable stories about like through scripture. So if we're doing an afternoon show, we'll pop on a Minnow episode, which I actually learn a lot from the Minnow episodes. I think there's something to be said about just like the gospel through a children's lens. And then obviously just like, I don't know, we have worship playing almost all day, every day in our home. And I think that that's really edifying to everybody's spirit. But yeah, let go of like what the structure of what you think it should be. Okay. Have you... Okay, this is funny. So they put like a 2 instead of 2. Have you two ever had a conflict with each other, or do you just always get along great?
I don't know if we've had like a conflict. There are things that one of us will be like, wait, like overthinking in our head.
Yeah.
Like, did she mean this when she said that? Or did she mean this? Or did I tick her off when I did this? Or whatever. Totally. And I feel like both of us just send a quick voice memo and say, let me process this real quick. Let me get it off my chest.
It's something I really value in friendship. And I think something we've like done really well is I don't really like to let things get to the point where it's like a big deal. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, like I've been thinking about this. Let's talk about it. Or are you mad at me? Or I feel like I said this wrong and I want to clarify.
And sometimes it's just like, I need reassurance. Like, tell me that we're fine.
Yes, exactly. Like I'm a little in my head. You've been a little off. And then it opens up like the conversation to be like, hey, like this was super strange. Like, what did you mean by that? And
and that doesn't come naturally to me at all. That was something that Jesse's taught me through being her friend for a few years. It's like, and it's because you've done it with me. You know what I mean? Like you've sent me the text message, like I'm overthinking this. Can you tell me what you meant? And then I tell you what I meant. I'm like, oh, that's not a big deal. So then the next time when I'm feeling like that, I'm like, okay, that's a safe space to
totally. It's a really safe space. And I think that that's something we've done really well. And it's gotten to the point where like, I don't think either of us have to worry or wonder. No. And I think that our conversations are like very gentle and kind. And then I think, I don't know, I just really appreciate that.
Yeah, me too.
I think we do that really well.
We do. Go us. Are your husbands friends with each other? Not really. I mean, they're not friends. But like, they're not like hanging out without us.
No, they wouldn't hang out without us.
They're very different.
Yeah, they're different. But I think that they like, I don't know. They like get along when they're together.
Yeah. But I feel like when we're together.
But also like does Brady hang out with friends outside?
Not really.
Like he wouldn't go hang out with a friend one-on-one probably.
He's very introverted and like, and I say that like with the full knowledge of what that means. Like he's like legitimately introverted. Yeah. He doesn't have like, he has a need to get out by himself. So he'll go golf. He'll maybe take Noah. But he legitimately does not have a need for like bros. Yeah. You know?
So and Chase does. And I think that he, like we have this weird thing where like he doesn't really ever hang out with his friends in the evenings because just how the breakdown of like they're usually gone at work all day and they want to be with their wives, and like so does he. And so on a lot of times he leaves early in the morning on like Fridays to work, and he'll like meet up with a friend, but he also gets a lot of that like buddy time with all the guys he works with. Like he's hired a lot of guys he's become really close with, and then also Sundays he's at church all day with some friends. And but he's I think way more extroverted than I am when it comes to like people. Like, oh, really? Yeah, like we were just talking about Ledger's birthday, and I was like, I think just a few of my good. And he's like, no, let's have a big party. Like he's always down for like the big things and all the people. And you know, sometimes like when we're together, he is just so chatty. Like he will talk for like 30 minutes and I'll be like, hi, I'm still here.
Yeah, that's me.
And he'll be like, oh, I should like, I should ask about you. So
no, they're not friends. They're just,
they're just so different. They're both entrepreneurs and I think they bond over that. But,
it's easy conversation when we're all together.
Yeah. Oh, but, totally. Yeah. They totally get along.
Yeah. Here you
go. Thoughts on vaccines?
Not doing that.
I don't think that you guys understand.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that.
We're not talking about it because our kids' medical history does not belong in the hands of the entire world.
No, you guys.
Neither does your kids' medical history.
I would hope that if we shared that kind of stuff, that you guys would like cancel us.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
I think that should be a law and a rule.
Yeah.
Because
like if your platform is health and wellness and educating on those types of things,
yeah.
great.
Yeah. You've already attracted an audience that probably believes the same thing.
You do.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I love that for you. But for us who we talk about motherhood, our children's safety on the internet, we take very seriously. And I don't know what's going to happen in 20 years and if they're going to want that information out there. One, two, if it could be dangerous for that information to be out there. You don't know. So no.
And also, like, if you can't find my kid's face on my Instagram, you're not going to find their medical records.
Next.
Feeling sad for my son who's about to become a big brother. I feel sad thinking he won't get all of my attention anymore. How did you prep your first child with a new baby on the way? Oh, we have like a whole episode about this, don't we?
We do. And don't be sad because, and I was sad. I was so sad.
We both, went through.
It's a hard time. It's a harder transition on you than it will be on your kids.
And I think it's like the hardest from 1 to 2 in regard to these feelings because it's the only kid you'll ever have that has all of you for a season of time.
And once you do it once, you're like, okay, I can do that again.
Yeah.
It might hurt a little bit, but it is going to be okay eventually. You get perspective.
Yes, totally.
But before we had Lily, because Noah was 4, he was 2 months away from being 4, which is a big age gap. He knew what he had. You know what I mean? So I was really nervous about that. I made sure, like when Lily was born, I never, ever, ever, and to this day, I never say, I can't do that with you right now because I'm feeding Lily. I can't do that with you right now because Lily needs me. Because I just didn't want to create that sibling rivalry. And that's something I've been really good at. And I don't say that lightly, but I would say, oh, mommy's hands are busy right now. I would absolutely love to help you with that art project. Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I stand up in 5 minutes because like, I think a big thing going from 1 to 2 is you're going to need to build trust with your first.
I feel like our toes are about to touch. Out of my peripherals.
I can't see my toes. And neither can you. Ha.
You know who you are.
I think you have to rebuild trust. So don't say you're going to do something and then not do it. Also, like we did the big gift. It doesn't have to be a big gift, but we did a gift from Lily to Noah when we brought Lily home from the hospital. I think just involving your kid a lot. Like, this is our baby. I never said this is my baby. This is our baby. Oh, our baby is sad. Let's go see what we can do to help her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I remember telling, I don't know if it was on the podcast or if it was to a friend. I don't remember. But I remember telling somebody who, like, if you're really, really close with your dogs before you have kids, I like have so much empathy for you because I just feel like they're your whole world. They're your babies. Like, and you're so worried when you're pregnant. Like, am I going to love my baby? Like, it's so silly in hindsight, but like, I remember feeling that way. And I remember after I had Sunny, like something that I really prioritized, and it probably sounds silly to people who don't understand dog relationships like we might, but like I would take my dogs on little dates. Like I would be like, okay, I'm leaving Sunny at home and I'm going to go take them on a walk, just us, or I'm going to go take them to the swimming pool, or I'm going to take them to get a pup cup. And now with Ledger, like I make that a priority with Sunny. Like I leave Ledger at home with Chase and I go and we do a date, Sunny and I, and we go to Mount Fuji, or we go to the trampoline park. We've gone to Murdoch's. We go sometimes just to the park and grab pizza. And it's like something I look forward to so much too. Cause I'm like, you're my little best friend. And we'll have those conversations. Like, remember when it was just me and you? And like, that was really special. And then with bedtime, like this, it might be a little bit controversial, but like Chase puts our babies to bed. He has always rocked Sunny to bed when she was a baby, and then she became a toddler and I put her to bed. And now Ledger, like
my kids, I have to feed them to sleep.
I feed them. Like I fed Ledger right before I left, and he will reach for Chase. Like he's done with milk. Crazy. He wants Chase to put him to bed. My kids
both, they had to fall asleep with a boob in their mouth. That was not like,
I think what happened is like both times, and we didn't do this intentionally, it just happened this way. Like when we brought Sunny home from the hospital, Chase would wake up every feeding with me in the night, and I would nurse her, and then I'd give her to him, and he would burp her and rock her back to sleep. And then he'd kind of sleep with her till she stirred again, and then she'd get milk, and then she'd go back to him, and the whole thing again. And at first it was like, I just need more rest than you because I just had a major surgery and all that kind of stuff. But then with Ledger, I remember being like, I really liked that system because at first I wasn't waking up by myself when I was feeding, but also it's really nice to be able to nurse because you're awake when you're nursing a newborn, and then I can pass him off and fall back to fall asleep. I'm not doing all of it by myself. And so, yeah, it's just happened that way.
That's nice. Yeah. That's really nice.
So I don't even remember why I said that, but
I don't know.
oh, because I can do bedtime with Sunny and it's special one-on-one time with her. So we do books, we do prayers, we can snuggle, we can debrief her day, and there's no baby in the room because there's a baby in the room all day, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Try to remind yourself, this is the last thing I'll say about this. Try to remind yourself that you're giving your child one of the greatest gifts you could ever give them, which is a sibling. I think that's so important to keep in mind, whether you're so sick, pregnant with your second baby and feeling like you're neglecting your first, or you're newly postpartum and you're like, I can't keep up with my toddler right now. My baby needs me. Or maybe you're 9 months into this thing with 2 kids and your baby is sick and your toddler still needs you. And you're like, but my baby needs me more. And it's just this whole thing. It never ends, I'm sure. But like, just try to give yourself the perspective of like, you're giving your child the greatest gift you can give them. Siblings are truly one of God's greatest gifts ever. And I think that's just such a special bond, and try to just remind yourself of that.
And also just shower your big kid with all the emotions you're feeling. Like that's Noah and I's whole relationship is always spoken out loud. Like I love that about us. Like if I'm feeling like I love you so much right now, I'm going to say it. If I'm feeling like I am so happy, I'm just sitting on the couch with you right now, I'm going to say it. When I say my prayers in the morning before we do school and I ask God to open his mind and give me the companion of the Holy Spirit to know what to teach him, I also say like, I'm so grateful that I have the ability to sit in this room and teach my child. So like speak your heart to your child so they don't have to question it. I think that's a really easy one.
Sunny and I have this thing where it's like this like cute aggression thing where with each other I'll just be like, I love you so much. And then she'll be like, I love you so much. And we just like say it all. It's so, I don't know. There's nothing like your oldest though. They're just
I know. But it is so much fun. Noah and Lily just all day long play all day long.
I know.
It's like
the sibling relationship.
What would you gals say to a mama torn between leaving her job to be a stay-at-home mom and the fear of losing that financial security in doing so, especially in this economy?
Oh, okay. This is a hot take. I don't want to offend anybody. I know everybody has different situations, but it sounds like you're on the fence, and that's the only reason I'm going to say this. I don't think any dollar amount is worth missing out on your children's little years if you have the choice.
If you can make it work.
If you have the choice. Like, please hear my heart in that. If you're on the fence and your husband's offering that to you and it's a possibility and maybe you'd have to create a budget and scrape some pennies, I couldn't dream of a better life.
Yeah.
I tell Chase all the time that he's stressed about money. I said, I would rather live in a tent
I say that
and
all
get
the time.
to
in
stay
a box. Mine's in a box.
Yeah. I say, and get to have time with you and my kids than live in a mansion and never see you.
Yeah.
Or
I
my
say
kids.
that to Noah a lot. Maybe it's because they both work. Not that they work a lot, but
well, and they both carry their businesses on their shoulders. So I think sometimes they need the perspective of like, we aren't with you for money.
Yeah.
We're with you to have a family.
Why it's here. Yeah. I don't know. What would you say to a mama torn between leaving her job to be a stay-at-home mom and the fear of losing that financial security?
You better order that dress in a smaller size. It's so cute. And I'm not going to ever be able to wear it because it's going to show my whole butt on it.
A smaller size would be too short.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What if you just like sewed it a little bit, tightened it at the top or something?
I'll have to show it to you. It's like, it's just on this ribbon holds the whole thing together.
Oh. Just tie it tighter then, no?
No, I did. This is as tight as it can.
Okay. It's just really cute.
I would say, what is the losing financial security? I would just like to know more about that. Because
maybe like a savings account?
Yeah. If it's going to affect your quality of life to where you guys can't be happy or you can't be healthy, because I do think in this economy, being healthy is expensive, which is so backwards and so sad. And if it's going to affect that and you value that, then maybe it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But if it's not going to affect you being healthy, if it's not going to affect your quality of life to where you'll be miserable.
Yeah.
And you can just be there.
Yeah.
I do think it's a really good trade. There's a lot of times where it's like, if I went back to the office, he probably wouldn't be having a lot of these issues. And sometimes it feels selfish of me, but then I have to tell myself it's not selfish. Like, this is literally what's best for my children. So that's a hard one. And I don't think I answered that very well, but I'm sorry.
I think you did. That's a good perspective. Something you're ashamed of doing during your motherhood journey.
Oh, I've got one right now off the top of my head. And the reason why it came to my head so fast, because I saw a reel of a mom talking about it. And then I went and read the comments, and the comments were amazing. It's like the anger
so many on here. We should almost do a second episode.
Yeah, maybe we should.
There's a lot of
37 minutes.
Okay. Anyways, keep going.
the anger that I felt towards my child who, when he did not go to sleep when he should have, and the way I handle it sometimes brings me a lot of shame. And I remember one night I was sitting there and I'm just like rocking Noah to sleep. He's like 18 months old. He's going through an 18-month sleep regression. We've got this bedtime routine. It takes a really long time. And I want to be downstairs with Brady so bad because I've just like, I've been momming all day. I needed a break. It's like 9:00 at night. He was supposed to be in bed an hour and a half ago. And I'm just like petting him and he's nursing and I'm walking around the room and my back is killing me. And I just like, I'm shushing him, shh, like as loud as I can, like in his little baby face. That's so sad. But it was then that I realized I think I need therapy. And like literally those things brought me into therapy and made me get better. But I saw a mom create a reel and she was like, let me just tell you about the what does she call it? Passive violence or whatever that I've taken on my kids before I knew like how to help them sleep. She's like a sleep coach. So she's helping moms not have this. And she's like, I've punched a hole in the wall. And she said that I've shushed really loud in his face. I've had to set him down in the crib crying and walk into my room and scream into a pillow. And then I open up the comments and it's like, oh my gosh, this is like so amazing to see somebody talking about this because #me too.
Have you seen that like 17 diapers?
I don't know what that means, but I have seen it.
So there was this girl who she was like very like had a brand new baby and she just created this video and she was like, hey, let's like walk around my house and see how many diapers that I need to like pick up. She was like, we have 2 kids in diapers. I usually just walk around the house like once a day or whatever and put them in a bag. So she's like walking around, she counts 17 diapers. And it was just like, to me, I was like, oh, I love watching like cleanup videos. I didn't think anything of it. I like moved on. It blew up into this whole thing of like a lot of people telling her how like horrible she was and that's not sanitary and that's not a good blah, blah, blah. And people were saying like, wow, we went so quickly from like she deserves the purse trend, which I don't know if you knew anything about that either. This person found a purse next to a formula can and started this movement of like she deserved the purse, but she put the purse back to buy formula for her baby, hypothetically, assuming the best. And people started going and flooding Targets and putting extra cash in formula things in the name of like she deserves the purse. And so they were saying like, wow, we went so quickly from like she deserves the purse to like shaming this brand new mom for having 17 diapers laying around her house. And then there's other people that were like, that's 17 times you changed your kiddos, like you're doing a great job. And in one of her videos, her husband just laying on the couch and she like has her baby and she's cleaning everything. Like she was doing it, from my perspective, a really great job. Anyways, it has now created this blow up of people being like, well, my 17 diapers was X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of like, some of the things you're saying. Like I had to put my baby down in one room and go to the other room and like scream. Or, somebody said they chucked their acai bowl across the room at their husband's face and it got all over the walls and it's still stained. And so I feel like that it opened a door, I think, for a lot of people who experienced a lot of different like postpartum stuff to feel seen and heard and understood. And then there was someone being like, be careful what you say on here because I got CPS called on me for like some of my postpartum videos. And
oh, wow, gosh. I
don't know. It's all over the place. But, I think right when you said that, the time I felt, I think the most awful, 2 things come to mind. One was when I was in labor with Ledger and I found out that he flipped and he was laying sideways. And I went through all the stress and emotional turmoil of doing the ECV, and like the midwives like bound up my belly. And I'm like, anybody who knew me at the time knew how much I fought so hard to have a VBAC. And he, after my ECV, like flipped back sideways. And I just remember like waking up that morning and I took my fist and I'm like literally shoving his head, because I could feel it in my ribs. I'm like shoving his head down and I'm like, I was almost like panic crying, like frustrated to Chase. I'm just like, I've done everything and this freaking kid cannot just do what he's supposed to do. Like I was so mad at him. I was like, and now I have to go get like another major surgery. And I just remember like after meeting him, I was very like disassociated from him for like probably the first like 24 hours. It was a little bit like freaky. And I didn't know if it was from the miscarriages or from the birth or all the things. Yeah. But I just remember like the second day we were there, Chase is like rocking Ledger, and he just has tears coming down his face. Chase says, and Chase like hardly ever cries, and he was like, Jess, like, I feel bad, because he was like really frustrated with Ledger too. He's like, I feel bad, like Ledger was like just trying to do his best, and he was like so tied up in his cord. Like he had such a hard time, if you listen to my birth video, like even coming out like via the C-section. And I just like broke down, and I'm like, I know, like he was just doing his best, and I really feel like so bad that I was like, I was so mad at him. Like I was like, why can't you just do what you're supposed to do? I feel so bad about that. And then this is a little bit more lighthearted. Like with Sunny, we went to no, I'm not gonna say the name of it on here. We're trying to be better about not giving away our location. I'm like the one that gives it away every single episode. We went to this place that has this like tower that looks almost like a little Rapunzel tower in the middle of this little like forest situation, and we had met up with a few of our friends. And little did I know that Sunny remembered the last time we had gone there, like 8 months prior, that this Rapunzel tower was there. And apparently she was so excited to show all of her friends. Well, we get there and it's under construction. And it was like one of many things you could do there. So I was like, okay, like we're walking around and she keeps talking about it to all of her friends. And we happen upon it and it's under construction. So I'm like, sorry, babe, like we can't go there, you know, like let's go do something else. You know, there's goats and there's ducks over here and there's chickens, and I kind of just keep like hurrying her along, and we get over to the ducks and she's like in the corner behind this building, like sobbing, head in her hands, sobbing. And I walk over to her and she's crying, and I was like, Sunny, I was so like dismissive and so rude. I was like, get up, you are with all your friends, go play and have fun. We are not doing this right now. Like so mean. And I was really pregnant with Ledger too, and I think I was just over it. And she like tried to like go rejoin her friends, and then same thing, I find her behind another building sobbing, and I'm like, Sunny, we're gonna go home if you cannot like get it together. And then she looks up at me and she goes, Mom, I'm so disappointed. I was so excited to do the Rapunzel tower with my friends. I'm gonna start crying again.
Oh, poor baby.
I was why?
Oh,
I was like, I'm so sorry that I wasn't empathetic. Like, why do I I actually think about those two moments so often, of just like, wow, I really like, I need to be better about like seeing someone else's perspective before I just assume I know the full story. Like in her sweet little like ability to even like share how she was feeling, even though I was being like a jerk.
I mean, I feel like you're gonna be a jerk to your kid.
It's awful. I hate
it. Fun.
Yeah.
And it feels really bad, but like also for everybody out there, just like take the pressure off.
I know.
You are not going to be like this idyllic Disney princess mom.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
Right.
You see that all over Instagram because everybody's only sharing their best on Instagram, as they should.
Right.
We don't need to air our dirty laundry on Instagram.
Yeah, totally.
But like that's not the standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your patience. Your kid's going to do something and you're not going to know the full story, and you're going to snap. It's just what happens. But if you're like quick to apologize, quick to like own up to a mistake, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But that is sad.
I know, it just like eats at me. This is why I'm like, I just am so nervous to like get it wrong with my kids, because it just eats at me. Like those moments like etch themselves. Like I have such a hard time moving on from those moments. Like I want to try to believe somehow that I can prevent all of that from happening, but it just bubbles up and like your humanity comes out, and you're just like,
also I feel like that maybe makes it more pressure for you.
Yeah, I feel so much pressure. I've told you that. I feel so much pressure every day to just like get it so right. And then those things happen where I'm just like, no, I hate that. Anyways,
let's do one more.
Yeah, let's do a better one than those. Oh wait, Chase texted me. Are you coming? Oh, I forgot to tell me you're doing 2 episodes.
Ooh, oops.
Here, it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. I'm just going to say one word answer to this. We don't, what to say to medical professionals when they don't agree with homeopathy or natural remedy choices you've made. This isn't your kid. That's all I need to say. This isn't your kid. You're fired. Find someone new. And I think I don't get intimidated by doctors because I am a doctor. And let me just tell you, you have so much more choice than you're led to believe. And doctors don't know very much.
I will say, if you're not the person that's like able to, like, as much as I like to say that I'm the person that will say no, like when I get into those situations, I just get like a little bit nervous. And I experienced it today with a medical decision for my dog, actually. And what I kind of like to do sometimes is like play into like the power that they have. I don't know how, like the authority they have, I guess. I like to just kind of like let them know, like, I'm really struggling with this. Like, these are my concerns. And kind of let them speak into it. Like I say, if this were your dog, what would you recommend? If this were your kid, what would you recommend? And I hear them out. And then I just kind of like let them know I'm struggling with the decision and kind of try to come together, like collaborate a little bit. But I usually still like walk away getting what I want, but I don't make it uncomfortable, especially only in the case if it's a provider that I want to keep around.
Yeah.
Does that make, I guess I should have prefaced it with that.
If it's someone you don't care about keeping around, if you're like,
if it's a random ER doctor or something, like, yeah, say your piece. But I guess like if it's like a provider you have a relationship with and you really trust, I think it's okay to kind of like, you know, like collaborate a little bit and then still come to the conclusion. Even if you walk out, say, I'm just like not comfortable, so I'm just going to think on it. You know, that's what I said today, at least. And I felt good about it. And I didn't feel like she's mad at me. I don't feel like I'm mad at her. I feel like I could see her again tomorrow and everything. Yeah.
I guess we're just talking about doctors because this was the last question. It says, what are some instances to where you would take your baby to get medical care instead of doing natural remedies? Okay. Medicine is very valuable. Western medicine, very valuable. It is sick care. It's not health care. It's for when you're sick, for when you're injured. It's
not preventative.
It's not preventative. Your natural remedies are for prevention. There are natural remedies like for an ear infection, you could do like garlic oil, or there are things you can do to like first line of defense type things. Medicine should be last line of defense, I think, like especially if we're talking antibiotics, if we're talking antivirals, all of that should be last line of defense if you're a healthy person. But things like Lily fell off of our retainer wall. It's like a 3-foot retainer wall onto concrete, and her head sounded real scary when she fell. Brady and I are both doctors. We rushed her to the emergency room because
that's when I knew it was bad because you guys are not like, let's just go.
We are not. But like when it comes to the health and safety of my child, if she has a brain bleed, I can't fix that. You know what I mean? Broken bones, really deep cuts, might need stitches. I would just say, I think in the holistic world, and I think we're kind of coming out of this, but I think in the holistic world, we've demonized medicine. Instead of what we should have done is just taken medicine and put it where it goes. It goes in the emergency box because that's what it is. It doesn't go in the minor scrapes, scratches, colds, you know, first stage of an ear infection box. Emergency box. Yeah. So is this a medical emergency? And then go get help.
And it's not like, and not being the answer to chronic illness or chronic issues. It's like get to the root cause. I think for me, breathing. Yeah. For you, breathing is triggering because Sunny gets croup and that's really hard. I've never taken my kids to anywhere if they have a cold because they've never needed that. But so it's like also not a clear cut answer because your kid I think like breathing and head injuries. Yeah. Those like falls that are greater than 3 times your child's body height, 2 times, even 2. Yeah. I think like I'm the person, Amanda and I guess are a little different like this. I have a track record 2 miles long with my pediatrician as far as like, I just call and keep them updated about like all of the things. Cause I feel like I have like guidance from the Lord over my children. But then I also feel like I really like to have people in my corner, which is why I built like this big team to help me with like Ledger's birth. You know, like I like to have people to consult and people to bounce things off of. Cause I also know that sometimes I'm tired and I'm blind to things that I might not see, you know? And so, oh my gosh, people are still sending questions in.
I should probably cut that off.
But I don't know. I call for all of the things and then I like just kind of go from there. We did bring Sunny in one time for like an appendicitis scare. I don't like appendicitis. I think that if it's something that is really unnerving and you don't feel equipped to handle it at home, I think that was a really good point. Like just go. It's in the emergency box. There's some really, really good, like we have a great children's urgent care here. Just make sure it's children specific. Make sure the ER is children specific. Yeah. Be in good contact with your pediatrician or find some friends who are really versed in, like I always run things by both of the Amandas too. Like I think that's helpful for me to be like, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? And is your child lethargic? Like
for a long period of time. They're going to be lethargic if they have a fever. Are they lethargic? Are
they
they
can't get fluids down
inconsolable?
them, like
if they
dehydrated?
Yes. Are they dehydrated? Are they inconsolable with pain? I don't know. I thought it was interesting with the head injury Lily had. I was talking to the pediatrician because I have a little bit of trauma with that. My grandpa, the day before I graduated chiropractic school, he had a fall and the hospital read the wrong CT scan and sewed him up when he had a brain bleed. And so Brady and I went to take pictures with him in our gowns, our graduation gowns, and he was gone. And the hospital didn't even know it. My parents they sued and they got wrongful death. So it was really hard. So head injuries, like that freaks me out because of that. And I was running things through the doctor and they were talking about, because I remember as a little kid, if I hit my head, my mom would be like, don't go to sleep.
I know.
Do you know? Don't go to sleep. But now when I was talking to the ER doctor, she said, no,
encourage it.
Let her go to sleep because that's when
the best way to heal.
Your brain's going to heal. She told me, like, if she won't latch, if she won't get milk, if she falls asleep and you can't wake her up. Also, like, if you just hear a noise and it terrifies you, just go to the hospital. Like, what's going to happen if you're better safe than sorry?
I think the same thing goes for when you're pregnant. Like, I feel like there were times where with both kids, I was like, something just doesn't feel right. I just want to go get checked out. Like, I just think it's so silly if you're like not doing something because you're worried about how the doctors might receive you. Like, who cares?
I've never had a problem. I went to the hospital with miscarriage scares. I've taken Lily to the hospital for her head. I had never, knock on freaking wood, had to take Noah into a hospital, but and also like,
that just made me like sick to my stomach. I hate this.
I've never had a doctor treat me weird because I'm a chiropractor or because I make XYZ decisions with my health. Like, I'm a little more on the holistic side. Like, I've never had someone treat me bad. Some of the best treatment I've had in holistic or medical world have been nurses at my bedside when I'm about to have a C-section or when I'm in labor. Nurses. So like, I just think try to take the medical community out of the villain box, because I don't think that they're
and vice versa. I mean, I think there's just a war that doesn't need to be fought. I think there's just a really beautiful like alignment of things that can happen. Like for Sunny's croup situation, for the first 3 times that she couldn't breathe, we did the steroid situation. And now that she's a little older, her windpipe is growing a little bit. I have a little bit more time before it's like an emergency. And I've found a homeopathic concoction. It's genuinely a concoction, but it keeps us out of the hospital and we don't have to do the steroids. So I don't know. It's just that check in with yourself of like what feels the best right now. The Lord will give you the peace. But I do also resonate with like sometimes feeling a little paralyzed when it comes to I feel like I'm so confident, and then I'm in the moment. I'm like, wait, what if I'm missing something?
I've told you that's how I am with a fever, because Noah doesn't get a fever. Noah gets 104 degree fevers, and like I know in my training, in my doctorate degree, like anything under 104.5 is fine, absolutely fine. But then like I lose everything as soon as his fever gets to like 103.8. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to go buy Tylenol?
And that's actually a really good example. Like I've never once treated a fever on Sunny, and she's ran up to 104. She was 104.5 in Hawaii or in Mexico one time when she was like, but Ledger. And I don't know if I grew up, my little brother had febrile seizures all the time. It was terrible. It was so traumatizing to witness that I think something about having a little boy, he ran the same fever, and I immediately was like, and maybe it was the Holy Spirit. I don't even want to just chalk it up to fear. Maybe it was the Holy Spirit. And I was like, I feel like I need to treat this. And I did. And he was fine and he's okay. But I just think that's the whole thing of like, sometimes you think like, oh, I know I figured this out with my child, but it's like, but the Lord might tell you to do something completely different with your next child. And like just being in once again, I don't want to just be like, that was the Lord or that was fear. I don't know, but I'm glad I did it because it made me feel better.
Honey's knocking at the door. She hears you. That's Honey. All right, you guys. This is a long episode.
Should we end on like something more positive, or do you think that?
What?
Let's just end with what are your favorite podcasts?
Oh, Dateline.
Yeah, because I don't actually listen to podcasts, so it's all you.
Dateline. That's like the only podcast I listen to. I listen to Dateline, and that is it. And sometimes 2020, if there's a good story on there, I just listen to true crime on podcasts. But I mean, I listen to a lot of
I feel like just I think I'm just reading, like I have like 4 different audiobooks going on right now.
Audiobooks,
so yes. Just kind of like flick that on. And honestly, when we're in the car, I love listening to like Sunny's songs. Like I should have put this in our like things that you don't care about as a mom. I do not care about listening to my own music in the car. Like I actually love listening to Sunny's music because it makes her so happy. So it's like we're jamming to Super Kitties or something, and I'm like so happy with that to the point where like when she's not in the car and I get in the car and I pull up my Spotify and it's all her. I'm almost like, well, these are my songs. This is like the amount of times I've like listened to the Disney Wish soundtrack.
Know. It's such a good soundtrack.
Without Sunny in the car or Brave. Brave is also really good. Like all of the like Irish music. I'm like, I love this. So I don't.
Do you know what my kids are listening to right now? And I freaking Lily's hilarious. Anytime music comes on in the car, she dances in her car seat and she like waggles her head and she kicks her feet and then she does this with her hands. Yeah. And it's so cute. And we've been listening to Danny Go. Do you know who that is? He probably has a YouTube channel because all of his songs are really interactive, but we don't do YouTube. We just listen to it on Apple Music. But they're like, you know, the Dance Free song? All of his songs are like that. There's like the gingerbread dance song and the crawl like a spider song. And they all have like these kind of EDM, like fun beats.
That's so funny.
And Noah's like back there doing what Danny Go is saying. And Lily's just... And it is
I love that
the
so
best.
much.
And that's like all we're listening to right now.
Well, Ledger's favorite song is I'm a Believer from the Shrek soundtrack. Like lights up. And then Sunny's right now actually is the Excavator song.
From Blippi.
And I think it's because like, I wake up in the middle of the night singing it in my head.
I had listened.
I'm like, I can't.
Noah went through the Excavator song phase around like in between 2 and 3 for like a whole year.
It's so cute.
That and they have he has a motorcycle song that Noah also loved.
I think it's so cute. I'm like, who cares? I will pop on my music every once in a while, but it's like I just love seeing them so happy. Yeah. The sibling thing in the back seat when they're dancing. I'm like, what is better than this?
Brady gets in the car and he's like, why can't I see out your window in the rear? Because I don't use my rear view mirror. I point that thing at Lily's face. The whole drive I'm just watching her. I've never used a rear view mirror. When I was in high school, I was putting on mascara.
I guess in our car, does your car beep when there's somebody in the way? That's really nice. Yes. That's almost something I rely too much on. Like if it got shut off, I might get into an accident.
Yeah, it would be hard. Anyways.
Anyway.
Oh, did you hear about Tesla? And like the robots?
No.
And the self-driving cars?
No.
It's literally an iRobot. $30,000 is going to get you a full humanoid robot that will clean your house. And in the example, he said, we'll walk your dogs or watch your kids.
No.
He did.
No. This is real?
I'm pulling it up on Instagram. This is happening now? I'm going to use one of my Instagram uses for you. And yes, he's got, and that's available by 2026. $30,000 cheaper than a car to be in your house to do whatever you want it to. Did you watch iRobot with Will Smith?
That the way you just described how big it is, it's like it could kill you.
It's the size of a person.
It could kill you.
It has hands and feet. They were at the Tesla event, at his event, serving drinks, these robots.
No.
Having conversations with people, pouring drinks, shaking drinks.
And people want to think that doesn't have something else controlling it from some, like, there's no way that somebody couldn't just take over all of the robots and kill people with them.
Have you seen iRobot with Will Smith? It's like one of the greatest movies. My sister at like 10 years old, it was her favorite movie because she liked Will Smith.
Wait, is it the one where he's like the last on the planet with his dog?
No, that is I Am Legend. That was my very first date. 10 out of 10 do not recommend.
No.
My very first date I ever went on, I was 13. I went to the movies with this boy I'd been crushing on forever. And are you kidding me? I had like snot down my face.
Wait, there's another one called I Am Robot. That's not I Am Legend.
It's iRobot.
Oh,
iRobot. And he's like, Will Smith like gets his arm ripped off in an accident. Like he's in an accident, right? And there's these humanoid robots. He's in an accident. There's all self-driving cars, but something happened. He goes down underwater. The robot chooses to save him because he had the better chance of life instead of the little girl. The little girl dies. So iRobot, or Will Smith, doesn't trust robots anymore. He's like, no robots. He has like, it's like vintage stuff, but it's like he drives his own car. He like listens. I don't know. He does everything himself. His coffee maker, he doesn't own a robot. And then robots take over and he's the only one that like knows how to do stuff and he has to save the world. It's a great movie. But these robots literally look like the iRobot robots. And I'm just wondering, it's kind of like when Mark Zuckerberg or whatever his name is created the goggles. I'm like, have you not read Ready Player One? Did you watch that movie?
No.
Oh my gosh, where everybody's living just in this virtual world and they're like all it's this.
We were gonna end on a light.
Sorry. Brady told me this last week and it's been like haunting my nightmares.
I'm very scared for the robot situation.
Yeah.
Because that is not something anyone can and I don't think you can really just like kill a robot with a
No. I'm going to show you pictures right now. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you for listening, and remember that you were chosen to be the mother of your children.
And you are exactly where you need to be.
See you next week.